Hello fellow dog culture critics and fellow Americans. In this video, I will explain to you why I believe refusing to vote takes away the voice of children, and it also gives a voice to the people that you claim to be not voting for. So you're giving yourself a double punch by not voting. So first off, we're over here in Flint, Michigan, and I just want to show you guys something here. Look at the voting eligibility. About 25% of Flint, Michigan are under the age to cast their vote. Coincidentally, those are the same people that are suffering from the worst and worst of the dog attacks, up to and including death and dismemberment. Also, that little section of people there, those are also the little kids that lose their mothers and fathers when these dogs attack other people. A quick example of that is this story about a man that was mauled by 3 dogs and he ended up dying. His kids are left without a father. His kids cannot vote for anti-pit bull stuff. His kids cannot cast a vote against politicians that bring pit bulls in and are connected to 501c3 pit bull rescues. So by not voting, you're taking away fathers from children. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. So if you notice these dark gray results, those are the non-voters. Those are the people sitting at home saying, my vote doesn't count. I don't care about anybody. They're going to screw me anyways, so I'm not going to vote. So what you've done just a little bit by doing that is all these people in Michigan, you've taken away their voice. You could give them a little bit of voice by going out and looking at some people. I'll show you what people to look at here in a moment. So the people that you are not giving a voice, let's have a look at that. Flint, Michigan, population of 79,177 as of the census. So if we times that by 25%, which is the percentage of people that are not eligible to vote, the same people that are getting the brunt of these dog attacks, both on their own body and losing their parents to dog attacks. That is almost 20,000 people that do not have a voice when it comes to these dog attacks. So when you refuse to vote, when you refuse to scan through your voter pamphlet and look for people that are at least not super connected to the pit bull culture, what you're doing is you're just taking a little bit of a voice away from 20,000 young children that cannot vote. A portion of these kids will get killed and maimed by dogs. A portion of these kids will lose their parents to dog attacks. So we're still looking at Michigan. So you guys might remember the sheriff did this whole little thing where a dog walks up on a prisoner and the dog gets slapped or punched, and they made a big deal out of it. Animal abuse. Some links from 2 other channels will be in the description if you want to get caught up and be initiated to that story. But this is what the sheriff is doing over there, Genesee County, Flint, Michigan. Putting all this effort into pushing out this dog love, putting dogs inside of prisons. This guy is just reading a book, it seems like, and the dog invades his space. So what is the job of the sheriff? Well, we're back on our Michigan voting page. So law enforcement. The job of the sheriff is law enforcement. It's not dog propaganda. So when you vote for the sheriff, vote for somebody that's going to enforce the laws. Or tell your fellow humans, hey, that's why I didn't vote for this guy, because he's pushing dog propaganda and he's not taking care of the laws over there. Oh, wait a minute. He's not taking care of the laws. What are you guys talking about? Well, this is what I'm talking about. Out in Michigan and other places near Flint, Michigan and Genesee County, this is what's happening to the people. They're getting killed and maimed by dogs. So the sheriff is part of this. The sheriff needs to be enforcing the rules and not letting these dogs propagate and kill his fellow humans over there in Michigan. Postal worker attacked by dogs. What's going on? So here is your sheriff. He's been sheriff for quite a while. I'll put a link about it in the description if you want to look it up more. But put yourself in the shoes of this sheriff. And you know that him and the people that want him to be in power, you know that they are going to be looking at this. They're going to be looking at these numbers. Okay? And when that sheriff sits back and thinks, we got a lot of pit bull death, a lot of dogs attacking kids. I might get myself voted out if I don't do something about it. But then he goes and looks at these numbers. He's going to be like, haha, nope, they don't give a crap. They're just sitting back on their asses talking about they hate Republicans, they hate Democrats. And so if that sheriff wants to ignore dog attacks out in his community, it's easy for him to do it. And you've made it easy for him to do it by saying you're not going to cast your vote. If some votes start coming up because of these dog attacks, then that sheriff, he's going to have to rethink it. The people that are dumping money into his campaign, they're going to have to rethink stuff. But they're not going to rethink stuff as long as we sit at home saying we're not going to vote. We take away the voice of the little kids, and we give a voice to all of the sheriffs and county commissioners and other people that are allowing these dog attacks to happen. For example, look at the ways that they promoted the sheriff over there in Genesee County. These type of protests. If we protest online about him and his state allowing people to be killed by dogs, then they're going to have to give that some attention. But instead, go ahead and read this, but they used the George Floyd riots as a way to get his human oppression strike team into the spotlight. You know, what if they put together a prevent dog attacks strike team? Then that sheriff would have to be part of it. Otherwise, he would look bad. 5 people in the community, then 10, then 25 in the churches. Then you got 500 people on the Facebook pages. But if you're sitting at home talking about, I ain't going to vote, they're going to screw me over anyways, well, then you're pretty much creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, like a Pygmalion effect. Because all of these people, they see what you're going to put your effort into. And in this case, the sheriff, Chris Swanson, and his whole team, they just use this as a way to get into the spotlight. But what if they could get into the spotlight from people actually voting against dog attacks or speaking out against dog attacks? Think of the power that everybody could have. Think of all the children that wouldn't be killed by dogs. Even if you don't want to vote, if you don't want to go to the polling or whatever, if you live in one of these places where all these dog attacks happen, you can find the Facebook and Instagram page. You can get on the newsletter of your senators that are up above these sheriffs that are allowing dog attacks to happen, and you can just make a comment. You can vote that way. Go on their Facebook page. Excuse me, Debbie Stabenow? Stabenow? Sounds like a pit bull attack. Wow. Well, you could say, excuse me, Debbie, I've noticed that your state has a lot of dog attacks, but I was considering moving my small business to your state. As a citizen of your state, would you be able to employ the sheriff if my little kids were attacked by dogs? And she is going to now have to give a little bit of attention to that. And so the people she talks to in her office, her assistant, maybe some people that actually want to speak out against dog attacks but they're afraid, they would actually be given just a little bit of a platform because you took time to vote. You took time to ask these people. Excuse me, Gary Peters. Go to his Facebook page, get on his newsletter in your email. Excuse me, Gary. I've had a lot of dog attacks in my neighborhood. I voted for you because you're a Democrat. I literally like your Democrat platform, but we've had a couple of dog attacks at the bus stop. Can you please send a newsletter out to your sheriffs and help us protect our kids? You could do something like that. Cast your vote that way. So sitting at home talking about you're not going to vote because this and that they always screw you over, what you're doing is you're just creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. You may as well vote somehow. Like send a letter, actually vote, call the phone number, whatever. But sitting at home saying you're not going to vote, you're just creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. And all of these people, like the Genesee County Sheriff, this guy right here, he sees that. And he's sitting there laughing like, haha, I can get away with whatever I want because they figure they're going to get screwed over anyways. So heck, I'll screw them over with dog attacks because they're going to sit at home and refuse to vote me out.